we live in a time where there's an app for everything, and the most successful companies, obviously, they leverage technology for growth. So myself as an entrepreneur growing a newly founded business, I just had to figure out a way to make it easier to manage my fleet, my drivers, and then we were getting an influx of orders and being able to dispatch them, to the right driver, and along with being like tracking it. So the Ship.Cars TMS does allow us to access detailed reporting for our business. So we're able to use, key data and metrics and analyze like everything that we need to grow. So yeah, technology has definitely been like key to growth. I think with Eftim, like we were discussing, like our growth, we did about 85% growth in like a year's time, just by being able to access, the data in Ship.Cars and seeing exactly what is the driver of our business.
Welcome to Stream, a trucktractortrailer.com production. My name is Zach Miller. I'm your host, and this episode is sponsored by Ship.Cars. We're honored to be joined today by Ship.Cars President Eftimov and by Bella Williams, who is the head of operations at Williams Transport, a fleet that utilizes Ship.Cars as their TMS software. Welcome. Thanks for joining us today. Welcome to both of you.
Hi, Zach. Thanks for hosting us.
Absolutely. Bella, I do want to ask you, because this is freight tech. This is something we talk about a lot on Stream, about the different applications for freight tech, how different fleets utilize it. So what are some of the potential pitfalls of not planning for technology adaptation ahead of time?
Yeah. Hi, Zach. Hi, everybody. My name is Bella. And I just wanted to say thank you for having me on your platform. But we have been using technology since we started our operation. So some of the potential pitfalls of not planning technology adoption ahead of time is really not knowing where your business stands. So until you are able to use technology to your advantage, you're always stuck in the rut of running in circles, booking, running, and repeating, that process all over again. But technology does allow you to track certain metrics, which help in innovations. And in our example, we use the technology we had in Ship.Cars and different load boards to not only plan ahead, but to forge a relationship with our brokers, with our customers. And also we're able to see in real time where the bulk of our business is coming from, and then just really tap into that. So Eftim and his team, they did a really good job with the Ship.Cars platform, where they, care about the carriers, they care about the shippers, and their intentions is just to improve the platform so that they can make, the technology adaptation easy for everybody that is a part of that platform.
And Eftim, just quickly to that point, your team at Ship.Cars, you're always sort of tweaking the platform based on feedback like that.
Correct. We have been trying to collect feedback regularly from carriers, from their drivers, to make sure that really the platform evolves and stays up to date with their demand. Pretty much for the 5 years in which we've had a relationship with carriers, we have always tried to remain close. And yes, one piece of this is collecting feedback. Another important piece of this is just showing them when we were thinking about an idea of how we can make their life better, and collecting feedback. Okay, are we on the right track, or do we need to tweak here and there to make a better feature?
Well, so that's interesting. And I want to ask you about this, Bella, because, I think there's always that sort of dichotomy between the management side and then the driver side. So when it comes to location tracking, do you look at that as sort of a blessing or a curse, or maybe a mix of the two?
Location tracking is a mix of the two. When we train our drivers, we train them on the positives of it. Ship.Cars on the driver ePod side, when they do their inspections, it gives, the location and a timestamp on all the inspection photos. So that does take away from the liability in the event something were to happen, at the inspection or, during the time of delivery, they can go back and look at it. The other piece that we train them on is also, if you're off duty, you don't obviously have to keep the location tracking off there. There's a way to turn it off. So if you're off duty, you can turn it off. But I think a lot of different applications do use that. If you look at your ELD, for example, all drivers have an ELD. So I don't have to go through my Ship.Cars application to track you. If I really want to know where you are, I can look at certainly the ELD. So we definitely make it into a positive for our drivers.
To that end, can you provide some examples of how the technology has improved your business, how it's made you a little bit more competitive in the marketplace?
Yes, absolutely. So with us, technology has definitely been a game changer in the way we run our business. So we live in a time where there's an app for everything, and the most successful companies, obviously, they leverage technology for growth. So myself as an entrepreneur growing a newly founded business, I just had to figure out a way to make it easier to manage my fleet, my drivers, and then we were getting an influx of orders and being able to dispatch them, to the right driver, and along with being tracking it. So the Ship.Cars TMS does allow us to access detailed reporting for our business. So we're able to use, key data and metrics and analyze everything that we need to grow. So yeah, technology has definitely been key to growth. I think with Eftim, we were discussing our growth, we did about 85% growth in a year's time, just by being able to access, the data in Ship.Cars and seeing exactly what is the driver of our business.
Wait, that is incredible. That's just you don't see growth like that year over year. Now, I understand that there are some spikes, pandemic related, but that is, just to incorporate technology into your operations to jump 85% is remarkable.
Yes, that is actually a huge jump. Obviously, we had to go through the hurdle of learning about the business and learning how to, utilize the technology. But once we figured out exactly, this is based on this report, this is, the broker that gives us the most business, this is the route that is most profitable for us. And then just plugging those into your business, we definitely saw, an increase in our revenue as well.
So then wait a second. So now I'm curious, because we know that owner operators have issues with dispatch. They have issues relying on the spot rates. Is that part of where you saw that growth, the technology really sort of, I guess, plugging those pain points? Is that sort of what you were seeing in terms of some of those freight rates and sort of fixing the dispatch related issues?
Exactly. So that's one of the things that when we did look at the reports, see what the average is. For example, we can pull data from this time last year, and then figure out exactly, okay, this is what the average rate was paying at that time, and then this is where we are today, and then just analyzing that data. So when we are in negotiations with the broker, we can definitely then ask for, the rates, or try to figure out, was that a one-time thing? What was happening during that time?
I feel like these are, testimonials like this, real life examples and data like this. That's what a lot of these owner operators and small fleets need to be hearing to adopt to new technologies. Because, you could just go on Twitter, you could go on any sort of owner operator group, trucking group, and the horror stories they have about dispatch, the horror stories they have about being taken advantage of, the fact that this could eliminate that pain for them is massive in the freight industry in this country.
Yes, that is, you're absolutely right. One of the things that I always like to do is analyzing my business. And I think a lot of owner operators do the same thing. You see what your overhead looks like. But once you do that, then you really want to look for a profitable route or a way to be more profitable if your route is not. So making those relationships with the brokers is one of the ways that also allows you to grow, because now they know you, they know what type of service you provide as a company. They know you're going to take care of them. You're going to take care of their customers. So that's one thing that we tap into. The other thing is also having that relationship. If you do use dispatchers, really having the dispatchers also understand your business. I think with a lot of owner operators, they're like, the dispatcher is going to produce a miracle for me. But the dispatcher doesn't know that your bottom line, at the end of the day, your overhead is $10,000 a month. They don't know that. So you're telling them, hey, I need to make 12,000. But if you bring the dispatcher in and really, hey, this is my overhead, this is how much I need to make, this is how much I need to profit, and, sharing those reports with them, that makes them be a little bit more effective. So sharing, Ship.Cars has a great feature where you can go and assign roles to people, actually, like you can do like a driver role, you can do an accounting role, you can have a dispatcher have their own set of roles, and you teach them how to look at those reports. They will generate profits and revenue for you just by knowing how to read data.
That's incredible. Have you seen that Eftim where maybe even from the dispatch side, or maybe that third party side, they were a little skeptical, and then all of a sudden they become converts because they see the reports and the data?
We have, yes, and I want to join in, congratulating Bella and her team on the growth, and it's really this sort of mindset of being data driven and not only seeing technology as the mandatory evil, so to say, but really, okay, what is this tool giving me that I haven't had before and that I haven't seen before, and this is really the human element, so to say, of the technology that we offer, because one company might take it and run with it, as Bella and her team are doing, trying to take advantage of all the features that we offer, versus okay, let me just use the depot occasionally, not really make the rest of my teammates think about how this can add additional volume to us. And back to your questions, that's exactly what we are seeing. You mentioned carrier groups on social media earlier. I'm starting to see more and more of this also in social media groups where people talk about the data points, and they sometimes, I think that they don't necessarily understand that these are the data points, rates on certain routes being low or high, and what are the expectations of a carrier on a certain route versus of a broker on a certain route. If you use our technology repetitively over not even that long of a period of time, suddenly you have this data available, and then you can analyze it, and it's not a spreadsheet where you're lost suddenly.
Yeah, that is a terrific point right there, because we still have those conversations when it comes to technology about using the old school spreadsheet, and how much, even with Excel or, a Google document, how much still gets kind of lost there by doing that. And that goes to, Bella, my question is, what measures do you use to keep the drivers accountable, to make sure even if they're using the software and they're using it properly, they still don't default back to something like that old school spreadsheet, or default back to that, like, oh well, I don't want to hear that the rate is the rate and someone's taking advantage of me type of mentality?
Yeah, so what we do, we include everybody from day one into our process. So we are like an open door policy. Like, it's not when we book our loads, it's not behind closed doors and then all of a sudden we come out with like the magic, spreadsheet and this is the rate, but we include everybody. And that goes to when we bring a driver on board, understanding exactly, what is your goal as a driver? How much are you trying to make? What are your, in a month from now, a year from now, like why are you, doing what you're doing, and understanding exactly why they're, a part of our company. Once we understand those things, then it's like, okay, I'm going to work and make it possible for you to do those things. But in return, I'm going to need you to do this for me as well. So this is the technology that we use. These are the measures that we have. And if I can negotiate with the broker on a certain rate, I will negotiate on it. If not, I'll explain to you why not. And then we'll try to make the best of it and get onto the next load. So that you can ultimately hit not only your goals, but us as a company, we can also get to the goals that we need to get to.
And I would imagine that mentality, that process makes the onboarding process that much smoother for the new drivers.
Yes, it definitely does. We don't throw, 10 applications on them at one time. Depending on whether they're tech savvy or not, we try to, layer it little by little. So we start, with the basics, which is the Ship.Cars EPOD, driver's EPOD. And then that's, how they do their inspections and how they're able to, produce their BOLs. And then we gradually, go to the load boards and, show them different layers of our business. But, it takes time. It's about like a 6-week onboarding process. Where we, start layer by layer. And then by the end of the 6 weeks, they understand fully, how we operate, how our business runs, and how we take care of our customers.
So why did you choose Ship.Cars for your TMS among all the, vendors out there in the marketplace?
So one of the things that really was attractive to us with Ship.Cars is the ease of use. It was easy to learn, easy to teach our drivers to use. And also because we are customer service oriented company, Ship.Cars also did have that customer service oriented. So my drivers could be in the middle of nowhere. If there was anything going on with the app, just being able to reach out to somebody and get the response in 3 to 5 minutes. Somebody's like, hey, they'll respond back to the driver. And that, saves them a lot of time. Because sometimes, you're trying to deliver a vehicle, the app is not doing what it needs to do. They're frustrated, the customer is frustrated, but they have that confidence, no matter what happens, like I can get in touch with somebody from Ship.Cars, like within 5 minutes, and I can, finish this delivery or this pickup. That was something that really, kept us as customers and kept us using the app over and over again.
Were you using someone else and had trouble with that and then switched to Ship.Cars, or was Ship.Cars the first one you tried?
Ship.Cars was the first one we tried, but different brokers, depending on the load, sometimes they have their own EPODs that they do require you to process. So we still have experience with other EPODs, but we don't see as much functionality, as much technology, and as many applications in those other EPODs as we see with Ship.Cars.
It's fascinating, and Eftim. So, Bella, you are the second Ship.Cars customer that we've had on this podcast. And Eftim, what I find so fascinating about the different conversations is that the companies who use Ship.Cars, they clearly use it for slightly different purposes, or there are functions to it that one appreciates more than the other and vice versa. And I think that's really fascinating. And I think that speaks to this sort of all-encompassing ability of the software.
That's fair, Zach, and that's what we have been seeing. It's very rarely one size fits all when we talk about technology. And interestingly enough, a lot of the car carrier companies out there function differently to a large extent, simply because the focus is different. We have one very simple goal, which is to make sure that we give all the tools that they have requested, so that they can extract extra profitability doing what they're doing. Because to the earlier conversation, to the previous topic that you guys talked about, at the end of the day, Excel is technology, right? Working in Excel is one way to do it. And we are seeing and talking to different kinds of customers. Sometimes we are transitioning a customer from paper to apps, right? Sometimes we're transitioning a customer from Excel to carrier TMS and apps, and sometimes we're sort of the car carrier tried another solution, right? Another report. They didn't like it for one reason or another, and wanted to try something else, and they ended up sticking with us.
Fantastic. Just as a aside, all the information for Ship.Cars is in the description below. If you're an owner operator, if you're a carrier, you're interested in checking out the TMS software, clearly we highly recommend it here. Bella, Eftim, thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate the conversation. I certainly learned a lot.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. If you guys like the content you see, please subscribe, and we'll see you next time on stream.